Okay, so we'll begin when you're ready. So if you like, you can close your eyes. And we're just going to begin with this first wing of our practice, which is the wing of presence or awareness. And we cultivate presence or awareness by bringing our attention to the present. So that's really how we do it. And then we notice when we're out of the present and we reconnect or reconnect with our breath or our body, or an anchor to bring us back to the here and now. So that's the basic awareness practice. And we can just bring awareness to the breath, because the breath is always in the now and has always been in the now. So a part of you from the moment you were born to where you are in this moment, or a large part of you, has always been anchored in this moment, has always been anchored in beingness, just like a tree is always anchored in beingness, and just like a flower is always anchored in beingness. And the part of ourself that has been disconnected from the present is the mind, is the monkey mind. And that's okay too, because the monkey mind is part of nature too. We don't want to battle with the mind or battle with our thoughts or demonize the mind. But what we do as we cultivate presence is just notice when we've moved out of the now and into thought. And then we reconnect back to beingness or presence through the anchor of the breath. So we can just do that gently and just being with our breathing and allowing our breath to connect us to the now, to this moment. Letting everything else go. Your breath that is part of nature. Your breath that is precious and new. And every breath that is different to the moment before. And our body, being part of nature, has so much intelligence. And the body will breathe itself. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to change the breath or control it in any way. We don't have to change ourselves or control ourselves in any way. The practice is about simply being. So we simply be with our breathing. As we do this, we connect to this essence of beingness. Just like a tree bees, or a flower bees, or a rock bees, we can be too. And then we will come out of that. And the part of ourselves that's coming out of that is just the monkey mind. So just notice how the body and the breath never leaves the now. It's the mind that does. And just noticing it and labeling it. That's thinking. That's judging. That's past. That's future. And we can smile at the mind. and we can smile at our thoughts, and we can bring love and compassion to all of our thoughts, knowing and trusting that there are no bad thoughts. It's just this thinking process. It's part of nature too, but we choose not to follow the thoughts, and instead we come back to connecting to presence, beingness, allowing the breath to connect you to beingness, and just breathing like a flower, breathing like a tree, being like a flower, resting in presence, resting in the now, melting in to presence, melting in to the now. So true nature, loving, compassionate presence. It's who and what we really are, beyond the monkey mind. It's only a small part of ourselves. Our true nature is this vast ocean of loving, compassionate presence, resting in this space now. We're allowing our breath to anchor us there, resting the body, resting the mind, and just aware when we're not in presence and when we're thinking, and just aware of that movement of the mind, and then always being so kind to the mind. We don't judge the movement. We know that it's natural, part of nature, part of our mind's nature, but we don't follow the thoughts. I'm thinking. I'm judging. I'm worrying. I don't have to let these thoughts mean anything, just thoughts. Connecting back to presence, to that presence that's always part of you, to that presence that's in everything in nature. Loving, compassionate presence, being like a flower, sitting like a flower, breathing like a tree, present like a mountain. Okay, so this is this first wing of practice, and we know that the practice is incomplete without the second wing, which is the wing of loving compassion. So we can bring the second wing to ourselves, to our practice, and it's almost like we infuse this presence that we've cultivated with love. So infusing the breath with love, infusing this presence with so much kindness, so that you are breathing in and out loving, compassionate presence, so that you are melting into an ocean of loving, compassionate presence, so that you are becoming loving, compassionate presence. Allowing your mind to almost melt into loving, compassionate presence. Allowing your body to melt into loving, compassionate presence. Allow your heart to melt into loving, compassionate presence. Allow yourself, your being, mind, body and heart to melt into loving, compassionate presence, so that you are becoming loving, compassionate presence. Just noticing now, as you sit here, is there anywhere that you are judging still? Am I judging my body in any way? What it feels like on the inside, what it looks like on the outside? Am I judging my mind in any way? The quality of mind I'm experiencing this evening? Am I judging my emotions in any way? Am I judging my life in any way? And the thoughts can be like, oh, I shouldn't feel like this, or it should be different, or I should be like this, or I don't like this, or I wanted to stop, or I wanted to go away, or I wanted to be this and that. So this is our trance of unworthiness that we get into. And as human beings, we're the only part of nature that gets caught in this trance, because a tree just bees. It doesn't judge itself, or it doesn't try to be different, and a flower just is, and water just is, and a bird just is. So just noticing where we are turning on ourselves this evening, and just realizing that this is just a thought. If I'm judging myself in any way, that's just a thought. And thoughts, we can let them go. We don't have to believe the thoughts we think, because so many of our thoughts are not true, inaccurate. So we can practice letting go of the thought that there's something wrong. And you can put a hand on your heart and a hand on your tummy. You can ask yourself the question, who am I without the thought that there is something wrong with me in this moment? How am I when I no longer believe there's anything wrong with me? I'm going to say that again. How am I when I no longer believe there is anything wrong? How am I when I try on the thought that I am absolutely perfect just as I am? How am I when I try on the thought that the universe made not a shred of a mistake when it created me? That I am a perfectly imperfect part of nature with as much right to be here as the mountains and as the trees. as the flowers, as the ocean. I am part of nature too. I belong to. So just allowing yourself to be just like a flower bee. Allowing yourself to be just like a mountain bee. Allowing yourself to be just like a tree bee. Knowing and trusting that there isn't anything wrong and you have no bad parts. There are no bad parts of your body. There are no bad parts of your mind. There are no bad parts of your heart. Every part of you belongs. Every part of you belongs to nature, belongs to the earth. Every part of you is worthy of being seen, of being held, of being loved. The parts that you show others and the parts that you tolerate and the parts that you hide, the parts that are hurting, the parts that you are ashamed of, the parts that feel the worst. Every part of you is good. Every part of you belongs. Every part of you is part of nature too. So just allowing yourself to be as a flower bee. Wishing yourself well. May I be happy. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I know and trust that I belong. May I know and trust that I have no bad parts. May I know and trust that I belong to nature too, that I belong here. And just take a breath. Just think of all of the others practicing here with you this evening, and maybe we're all in different places, different houses, different parts of the country, different countries, and knowing that although there's distance separating us, that we're all so similar, that we all have a beating heart, that we all wish to be happy, that we all have our own pain and our own suffering, and we can wish each other well now. May we all be happy. May we all be safe and healthy. May we all trust and know that we have no bad parts. May we trust and know our inner goodness and our inner value. And may we all give ourselves what it is that we need. And just before we finish, just checking in. What do you need? Is there anything you need this evening or throughout the coming week? Just noticing that and maybe making an intention to give yourself what it is that you need. And just take a breath. And you can let go of the practice and you can open your eyes when you're ready. And I'll just check in with you and just see how that was. And if anybody wants to share, we have a few minutes. Or is there any part of that that's helpful? Any questions? Any part that's hard? Any words that are kind of landing for anyone? just to say, I think it's really powerful, this piece of like noticing that our body and breath have always been in the now, you know? So all our lives, actually, most of us has been present. It's just the mind that isn't. And but most of us is anchored in the now. And we can think of that like the tree being anchored in the now, or the flower being anchored in the now. So we can use nature as inspiration for our practice. I don't know how that, yeah, the trance of unworthiness. Oh, yeah. Thanks, Evelyn. Yeah. Really beautiful, very, very tense. Okay, Claire, and that's welcome. You know, I think a big part of this is like we're allowing all these parts of ourselves, and we can know that. Oh yeah, thanks for the record. Someone told me to stop the recording.